My life was smooth sailing until I met the CEO's daughter. After graduating from college, I was assigned to the General Affairs Department of the headquarters of a precision machinery manufacturing company. The first 3 years were all odd jobs and I was like a jack of all trades, but as I gained experience, I came to be entrusted with contract signing, contract management, stock management, and preparation for shareholder meetings. Last year, I was promoted to deputy department head, and if things went smoothly, I could become a department head and even aim for a higher position. I had always been devoted to my job, but I also got a cute girlfriend who everyone envies at a social mixer I attended 2 years ago at the invitation of a friend. That's when I received a confession from the CEO's daughter.
I wouldn't mind dating you, Mr. Anderson.
She said she joined the company through connections 3 years ago and was assigned to the General Affairs Department. But she hardly did any work, went home on time even if her work wasn't done, frequently left her seat to touch up her makeup in the bathroom or go shopping at a convenience store, and did whatever she wanted, taking advantage of the fact that no one scolded her because she was the CEO's daughter. I took great care not to upset her while explaining how to do the job, taking on unfinished work, and covering up her mistakes. Maybe she misunderstood and thought I liked her because of that. Despite her patronizing tone, I politely turned her down. I appreciate your feelings, but I already have a girlfriend, so I'm afraid I can't date you. It seemed unexpected for her to be rejected by me, and the CEO's daughter screamed with her eyes wide open and her face turning red.
Huh? Do you know who I am? I'm the CEO's daughter. If you marry me, you might be able to become the president, you know.
Sighing to myself at the trouble I'd gotten into, I replied, I don't intend to try to advance my career by marrying. I believe it only makes sense to be promoted because my achievements and abilities are recognized at work. She slapped my cheek and was furious.
How dare you embarrass me? Remember this.
The next day, I was called into the CEO's office. The CEO's daughter had complained that I had sexually harassed her, and the enraged boss didn't bother to hear my side of the story and announced my transfer to a factory in the countryside.
How dare you hurt my precious daughter? I'm letting you off easy by not firing you. Be grateful.
I was assigned to work at a factory in the countryside far from New York, so my relationship with my girlfriend became long distance. We had been dating for a long time and were considering getting married, so I decided to propose to her on this occasion. But when I told her that I had been transferred from the headquarters to a factory in the countryside for an unreasonable reason and asked her to come with me, her attitude completely changed.
You must be joking. I jumped at the chance thinking you were an elite office worker, but you're working at a factory in the countryside. Give me back all the time I've spent.
She was cute, kind, and considerate, and I believed she would make the best wife when we got married. Her false image began to crumble. With a broken heart, I headed for the countryside alone. I was assigned to the administration division of the factory. The factory is very large and has many employees, but there were only one section chief who was close to retirement, one female employee who was about to take maternity leave, and 2 part-time housewives in the administration division. The main tasks of the factory administration included answering phone calls, ordering supplies, data entry, and document management. I knew these tasks were important, but it was a pain for me, who had been in charge of crucial decision-making matters at the headquarters. When noon arrived, I headed to the company cafeteria. According to one of the part-time ladies, they only have 2 lunch options, A and B. But both are hearty, delicious, and cheap, served with soup and a side dish, so most employees use the cafeteria, she said.
Hey, are you new here? What's your name?
The cafeteria lady asked me. Although she was old enough to be a grandmother, she had an energy about her that warranted the affectionate title of Auntie. I'm Anderson, assigned to the admin department as of today. Surprised by the sudden question, I responded with a slight bow.
Best of luck, Anderson.
She then served me a hefty helping of rice, saying that a young guy like me should eat a lot. With brisk efficiency, Auntie went about her work, shouting cheery greetings to the employees, even through her mask. I was impressed by her vibrant personality and ate all of my meal so as not to waste her efforts. Each time I visited the cafeteria, Auntie would ask me, "Getting used to the job? Or isn't our small town nice?" She was like a mother figure. In fact, many of the employees referred to her as Mom. 2 months later, a new female employee joined us to take over for a colleague on maternity leave.
Nice to meet you.
She's a woman with a gentle air about her, speaking with a soft and kind demeanor. It seems like she would be easy to work with. The part-time ladies didn't hesitate to ask her about her personal life. This is how I found out that Miss Johnson was unmarried, didn't have a boyfriend, and had previously worked at a factory that had gone bankrupt. Taking over for my colleague, who was pregnant, I showed Johnson around the factory.
Wow, it's so big.
Entering the workshop, Miss Johnson exclaimed excitedly, her eyes sparkling. Components flowed from the conveyor belt, quickly assembled by the employees and sent down the line for the next process. Finally, they were inspected and shipped out. Miss Johnson watched every step with great interest, asking detailed questions. When I asked if she liked factories, she said,
It's exciting to see small parts being assembled into one product, which is then used to create even larger products, don't you think?
Her childlike smile as she said this made her look adorable, and my heart skipped a beat. Until now, I had never thought about my job in the factory this way. I was usually just discontented with my situation. After this, my mindset changed. I started engaging positively with any task at hand and put my heart into my work. Surprisingly, I started finding joy in my job, which I had once considered a chore, and my days became fulfilling. Walking home while it was still light outside, I heard a voice from behind.
Good work, Anderson.
Good work to you too, Mom. By now, I too had started affectionately referring to Auntie as Mom. As it turned out, Mom lived nearby, and we often bumped into each other after work or at the local grocery store. We became close and had many conversations. She wasn't just good at listening but also at drawing out stories. Before I knew it, I had told her about my demotion and how I had feelings for Miss Johnson. One day, it was decided that the CEO would come for a factory inspection. What's more, he would be bringing his daughter along. Apparently, he was aggressively trying to get her to succeed him, despite the company not being a family business. I was to greet the CEO and his daughter along with the department head.
Well, I thought you'd have quit by now. But you're a persistent one. Working in this grubby little factory suits you.
As the CEO's daughter smirked at me, the CEO continued.
This is your punishment for making a pass at my daughter. You will spend the rest of your life working here and repenting.
I clenched my fist, shaking with rage, and glared at the CEO. I never sexually harassed your daughter. I merely rejected her advances.
You don't think my daughter would lie, do you? If you cause any more trouble, I'll fire you.
Like daughter, like father. Just then, a figure walking from the factory yelled in our direction.
Who do you think you are?
I immediately recognized it was Mom's voice and was so surprised that my heart nearly jumped out of my chest. Mom, hearing about my demotion, must have come in high spirits to give the CEO a piece of her mind out of a strong sense of justice. However, I was afraid that she would lose her job if she did something like that.
And you, who the hell are you?
The CEO, in a fit of rage, was becoming emotional. When I thought things were going bad, Mom removed her headscarf and started yelling at the CEO.
You will not forget my face.
Even I, who was trying to defend Mom, could not speak out at the sound of her powerful and intimidating voice. Then, the CEO's face turned pale.
You, the CEO, why on earth are you here?
While I was confused about why the CEO was calling Mom the CEO.
It seems I was wrong to have trusted you and handed over the CEO position when you were just a director.
It was revealed that my mom was the former CEO, and I was astounded.
You seem to have been doing whatever you like. I have received investigation reports from reliable people at headquarters. And you, young lady,
The CEO's daughter shivered as she was called young lady.
you too, be prepared.
The CEO and his daughter left without visiting the factory, as if fleeing the scene. I apologize for not knowing that you were the former CEO. As I apologized, a loud laughter echoed.
You can just call me Mom. I retired as CEO quite a while ago, so it's only natural that you didn't know. I'm also working in the employee cafeteria, keeping my identity a secret.
I asked her why she retired as CEO and was working in the cafeteria.
After all, I just love this company. While there is satisfaction in leading from the top as the CEO, it's also fun to support from the bottom, listening to the employees up close.
I thought it was a very mom-like way of thinking. The next day, Mom called for an emergency meeting, and a board meeting was held at headquarters. She had retired as CEO, but she remained as chairperson in name only, with the authority to serve as chairman when the CEO was unable to do so. At the board meeting, it was revealed one after another that the CEO had been threatening the board members, putting pressure on personnel to give his daughter a vice president position, and that the CEO's daughter had not been working, pushing her work onto others.
Those of you who couldn't stop the CEO's reckless actions are also responsible.
Mom reprimanded the board members, and it was decided by resolution that Mom would return as CEO for a while. The CEO was dismissed, and the CEO's daughter, who had become uncomfortable, left the company in the form of voluntary retirement. The news that Mom had returned as CEO spread to the factory. The factory manager and our section manager knew that she was the former CEO, but they had been sworn to secrecy, so no one else knew. Feeling the loneliness of not being able to hear Mom's lively voice in the cafeteria, I continued to work as usual. One day, I was called from headquarters. When I knocked on the door of the CEO's office, there was Mom, not in a headscarf and apron, but in a cool pantsuit. As I was about to bow, no need for formal greetings, just take a seat. She offered me the sofa, and I couldn't help but smile at her changing character.
Tomorrow, at the board meeting, I'll appoint you as the managing director, Mr. Anderson. Please accept the position.
I couldn't hide my surprise at the sudden request. Me, a managing director? I even forgot to correct my informal way of addressing myself and shouted,
I've looked into your performance in general affairs. I trust you can take over for me. Unlike those board members who have been swayed by the former CEO.
I worried if I was ready for such a significant role, but I was driven by the desire to support Mom, who once retired but returned to the position of CEO to protect the company she loved, and to carry on her legacy. I understand. I'm inexperienced, but I'll do my best. After that, I was appointed as the managing director by a resolution at the board meeting, and I was set to return to the head office. I had one regret, Miss Johnson. I was strongly attracted to her. She was kind and considerate, but also held her own opinions and displayed genuine strength. Overcoming my past traumas, I gathered up the courage to confess my feelings to her. Miss Johnson, it's because of you that I was able to change my attitude towards administrative work and take on my tasks enthusiastically. Will you please come to New York with me? I want to spend the rest of my life with you. While I was terrified that she might reject me, Miss Johnson gave a soft smile.
I was feeling lonely hearing that you would be moving to the head office. Please, let me go with you.
If I had stayed at the head office and married my ex-girlfriend, my married life would undoubtedly have been a disaster. I never thought being transferred would turn my fate in such a wonderful direction.
Is your wedding preparation with Kathy progressing? A wedding is a big event for a woman. Make sure you listen to her properly.
While having lunch with Mom, I was being lectured in her usual manner. I understand. Currently, I'm learning the art of leadership from Mom while serving as a busy managing director. I'm also preparing for my wedding with Catherine next month and have asked Mom to be our matchmaker. When we return from our honeymoon, Mom plans to pass the CO position to me and return to her role as a cafeteria lady. Listening to Mom's endless sermon, I made a commitment to protect and nurture the company and its employees that she loves like her own child.